Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Brant with CPC Bodybuilding, the home of men's classic physique. Got another exciting preview for you guys today in classic physique. We've got the Mid USA Pro coming up this Sunday, June 2nd. My special guest to preview this one is an awesome IFBB classic physique pro. I've got Eric Abelon with me today. Eric, thanks for joining the show, dude.
Hey, thanks for having me, man.
Always a pleasure, man. Um, So we're going to jump into this lineup here in a bit, but before we do that, got to make sure you guys know where you can find Eric here on social media. So like I said, Eric's a really solid classic physique pro, has had some really good recent showings. So Eric most recently competed at Fit World, right? Was that the last show?
Oh yeah, that was also like my worst placing.
But Eric has been like top five at like the New York Pro and like definitely a like a first call out guy in very good shows. So if you
Typically.
guys want to find him on socials right here, make sure you give him a follow. His tag's Eric underscore Abelon. Um, yeah, and support him, give him a follow. He's a funny guy. I know he's active on Reddit bodybuilding as well too. So if you guys want to find him there too, he's pretty active there. So yeah, we'll jump into the show lineup. We've got the Mid USA Pro, and that's in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Like I said, Sunday, June 2nd. Eric did the show last year as well, so Eric's competed against a lot of these guys. He's competed at this show. Um, so it's going to be a really solid lineup. We've got 7 guys, and most of these guys have already stepped on stage this year. So we've got Kirk Anderson, Luigi Bascog, Camilo Diaz, Matt Orchard, Lamar Shaw, Jorge Tibet, and Jeremiah Willies. So 7-man lineup, like I said, and you guys can find the live stream here on centerpodium.com. So Center Podium is a pretty cool service that streams all of the NPC and IFBB shows that, well, a lot of shows, not all of them, but streams a lot of these in very high quality. So you guys can either purchase the individual live stream for $30, or you can get the subscription to the service, which is $25 monthly, and you can watch a host of IFBB NPC shows. Really dope if you guys, are just bodybuilding fans or you have clients competing across the country. They also do overseas shows, if I understand correctly. But, anyways, um, prejudging is going to be on Pacific time, and expect it to start. I think these are old times. These are from last year, but we'll just go off of these. So 10 a.m. Pacific time for prejudging, 6 p.m. Pacific time for finals. So that is the Mid USA Pro lineup and schedule. I'll be sure to put the live stream link down there in the description, but we got the lineup here. And we're going to start with Kirk Anderson, who was 4th last week at the Optimum Classic in his first showing of the year. So, Eric, just looking at some of Kirk's shots, what do you think stands out to you, man?
So Kirk, he has a really good, like very strong lower half. You know, those quads and those glutes, especially like the hamstring belly, like they really pop out to me, especially if he does like his back double. That lower half is like it's almost, especially his quads, they're almost super dominant. Conditioning's pretty solid. He could use a little bit more thickness in his arms and his chest, but like he's really he's kind of complete. It's just that his lower half is a little bit overall more dense than his upper half.
Yeah, I could see that. He's got really good structure, especially in the lower half, like good mass. That's one thing in classic that matters a lot is upper lower symmetry, right? A lot of us think of the classic left to right symmetry, but you know, symmetry from top to bottom also matters a lot too. So making sure like your lats and your quad sweeps line up. You got a small waist, which Kirk does, and making sure those arms also kind of they're not dramatically smaller than the legs. And I think Kirk's got a great physique. I would say his legs are just great, which kind of makes everything look just good.
Oh, his
But
legs are good. It's just that, it's because he can fill out a little bit more up top, especially when he does like his front double or his back double. His front, especially the chest, like it tends to flatten out a bit, and it makes his upper look a bit small because it's so spread out. So, in my opinion, he looks good. He just needs to be a little bit more tissue in the upper extremities, especially in
yeah,
the chest.
yeah. But fourth at optimum amongst a very good lineup there. Kirk very well could be in that top four, top five here. I think he's got a pretty good shot at that. So that is Kirk Anderson. Next up, we got Luigi Bascog. He is based out of Idaho, and this was Luigi at the Mid USA last year. I think Luigi's got really great shape. Eric, what do you think of his physique?
Um, so I faced Luigi at mid pro also. So seeing him in person, um, he also has that standard classic structure. The small waist, the broad shoulders, and everything. He is a shorter guy, and because of that, I think he needs to kind of emphasize more on filling out size a bit more overall. He is fairly balanced, and he has no problem coming in with the conditioning and everything. But even in bodybuilding sizes and everything. But the last time I saw Luigi, he came in sharp, but he just wasn't as big. So I've looked at some of his more recent pictures and everything, and it looks like he has put on a bit more size, especially in the upper department. There's a lot more thickness in the chest, and he has that like thin skin graininess that the judges like for his conditioning right now. So I'm kind of curious how he's going to look next to these guys because I'm almost certain, well, I am certain that he is probably going to be the shortest in this lineup. So yeah, I hope he built enough size to really kind of just overshadow that.
Yeah, and I think the condition's definitely going to be there too. The Mid USA look that he brought last year was kind of on the I think he was going more for fullness.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at his pro debut photos, and also his current condition right now, I mean he looks way, way more like grainy and
Oh yeah, that
dry and
super
just
thin
sharp.
skin, striations everywhere. When you have striations over in like the forearms and everything, that's a good sign. Normally,
Hmm.
you start to see striations in like the shoulder, the tricep, the arm. But then when it starts to extend down to like the forearms and everything, your conditioning's on point.
Yeah, and I really liked his pro debut look at Legion back in 2022. Like this, I think this look is very, very solid. Like the
Mm-hmm.
condition was there, the fullness was there, and this was in a lineup like where you had some big dudes. It was like Eric Wildberger in this lineup, and like Jeff Hollenbeck, if you remember him. Jeff is like super, super muscular. He's not a tall guy, but he's super like
Jack.
big. Yeah, just absolutely jacked. And like Luigi held his own. He was ninth in that lineup with, I mean, there were just some dogs in that Legion lineup. So
Yeah,
like, I think Luigi, provided that the conditions nailed and the fullness, the peak goes well. Like Luigi's also in that discussion. Like he's very good structurally, and assuming he brought improvements, I think he could do very well here.
yeah. Just looking at this video of him at like almost 2 weeks out. It's like a week and some change. Like he's been doing his cardio, man. It's the one where yeah, that flexing one with the towel and all that. Yeah, he's been doing his
Hmm.
cardio. That thin skin and everything, it's like it's translucent. So if he can bring that to the stage and peak perfectly, his conditioning is definitely not going to be overlooked.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, I really like Luigi's look, so hoping the best for him in this one.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, we got contender in just about every show that he competes in. This is Camilo Diaz. This was from last week at Optimum. I think he was sixth there, which was a bit lower than I was expecting. And Camilo's like in every single show and went to the 2022 Olympia. You've competed against him. What are some of Camilo's strengths in your opinion?
Camilo always comes in uh, hard as a rock. So he always has that granite structure or granite texture that the judges like that show the hardness. He has absolutely no problem bringing that to any show. It's like almost a signature of his. Um, Structure wise, it's pretty classic. Broad shoulders, narrow waist, and everything. He is big enough, but I think because of also his height, sometimes it, especially in like some of his shots, like the front double and everything, I think his lat insertions are a bit high. Obviously, you can't control that, but like it makes him look like he's kind of like long. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Other than
Yeah,
that,
it makes his torso look longer. Yeah.
he's definitely not a guy to overlook. He has won this show before, so this is the show where he was a champion at this show. On this show, he did go to Olympia.
Yeah, and that plays definitely a big role. He's been in front of this judging panel before. People know him, and he's competed a lot. This guy is the most veteran competitor in this entire lineup. Like Camilo, he does like at least 5 shows every single year. This guy is a bodybuilder's bodybuilder. So
Oh yeah,
like,
when I talked to him, I was all like, "Where are you going next?" And he goes like, "I'm gonna go here, here, here." I'm all like, "Bro, don't, like you're already qualified." And he simply just said like, I love compete," and I was all like, "All right, man, I understood that." So
yeah, man, you gotta love it. You gotta appreciate it. So I like Camilo a lot. I think the one thing that I'll be looking for is how the peak goes this time around. Simply because we definitely didn't see his best last week at Optimum, and it was like a very rare miss in my opinion. Like if you look at this New York look, like if he brings this to Optimum, that's top 3 in my opinion, just
oh,
based on the condition, the size, the structure. It's just like he was maybe 80% at Optimum,
he used
like
to be an
not
open
on at
body,
all.
you know, and
Mm.
I saw some of his pictures as an open guy. He looked pretty solid even as an open guy. Like just downsizing the classic. I don't know if it affected or anything, but like as an open, he was mint. But even now as classic, he's like he is definitely like a threat. Condition wise alone, he's a threat.
hmm Yeah, I think he's got to be in the mix in this one. Like if he's not in that top 5, I will eat my shorts. Like I would be very surprised if Camilo's not in the top 5 in this show. Next up, we got Matt Orchard. So he's a rookie out of Australia. So he debuted at New York, did the Optimum Classic last week. So he was 12th at New York in his debut,
Mhm.
7th at Optimum last week. So he just keeps moving up. And I think his structure is really good. Just looking at these Optimum photos, he definitely has the width that you look for in Classic.
Mhm.
Eric, what are your thoughts on Matt's physique?
I'm looking at that four-piece photo of his at is New York. He's
Yeah.
where he's 4 days out from Optimum here, and it looks like he has all the tools necessary to be a contender for sure. Maybe possibly a dark horse. Um, just on the side chest alone, getting that striated glute in that shot is already such a show of muscle control. He is very grainy, so I don't think conditioning is going to be this guy's issue at all. If I were to nitpick something, I would just say it might be a posing issue, and that's real rich coming from me. You know what I mean? Real rich coming from me, but um, I think he just needs to tweak, especially like the back double. If he can find a way to make that a bit more flattering, because right now it looks like he's putting so much effort into it that it's kind of like a strain, and it makes it look awkward. You know what I mean? The rest of it is pretty solid, but this guy is definitely like a dark horse. You know, he's he's one of those guys where he will show up out of nowhere. No one expected him to look as good as he does, and he could sweep. So this guy, I wouldn't write him off.
Yeah, structurally, I think he's really good.
Yeah,
My
he's
so
very standard classic, very standard.
mhm. Yeah. And it helps, he's kind of got like that little Chris Bumstead charm, he's got like that smirk going, like, the handsome grin.
Yeah.
So I think that definitely goes a long way too. But I do know the posing thing was something that he commented on after New York. He was saying like that's clearly a weak point for me. I'm working on it. It's gonna, come up as time progresses.
Yeah.
So I think he knows that. I would say probably my one critique, and I assume he watches these, is probably what the judges are saying is just the quads probably need to come up to match because his lats are like awesome.
Hmm.
And speaking to the upper lower symmetry, if you have really great lats or really great quads, the lats or the quads need to match that. So like, the upper lower symmetry yet again. So like if we pull up the front double, you'll, or even the front relax, like if you look at this, it's like the lats go out very far and the quad sweeps aren't quite out as far as like the lats go.
Oh,
So that's something that, I kind of look for in your front shots. And part of that is insertions, like muscle insertions. Some people just don't have, you know, uh, quad sweeps that really like jut out super far.
yeah.
But, I do, and don't quote me on this. I do think he's a taller guy. I'm assuming he is just with like how wide his clavicles are. So
Oh, he's
I
definitely a tall.
think it could just be that.
This guy is definitely like he's taller than 5'11" because he's about the same height as Ramon, and they're standing next to each other in one of these photos. Uh,
Oh, okay.
yeah, so he's definitely a taller guy.
Yeah. So that, I mean, I think that also would just explain it, just more filling out the legs. Like tall guys, they definitely have gotten the short end of the stick when it comes to, filling out their frames. It's like you might have the S tier structure, but it's like you have to, work a lot harder to fill out your frame than like a shorter guy like me. So, um, I do think Matt is really great and could do pretty well here. So
Mhm.
I like his physique a lot. Next up, we got Lamar Shaw, who was a 2022 Olympian and was second at the Optimum Classic last week. Lamar is
Yes.
another one of those guys, man, like always in it. So you've competed against Lamar, Eric. What do you think are, some of the strengths that he brings to the table?
I would say that he is definitely blueprint classic. You know what I mean? And he is definitely that Olympian quality. Look, seeing him in person, I was impressed with his physique. It was very balanced overall, very tiny waist and everything. Posing was on point and everything, just as you would expect from any Olympian. Um, I think now he's working with Chris Aceto, I've heard.
Yeah.
Yeah, the technician, and his placing over at Optimum, it really brought him up a lot. When I was facing him in Charlotte, I think he was kind of just testing the waters a bit, and he was kind of just warming up. And now it's like, okay, I'm a fan of his physique. He's if I could critique one thing, I just think his arms just overall need a bit more size.
hmm Completely agree. And I think you and I are both in the same boat where it's like we think big arms are essential to classic, though
Yeah,
I
yeah,
do think, some judges do prefer like the Frank Zane-esque classic physique where the arms may not be like a strong point, but they're still good. They just may not be like the thing that pops out at you. Whereas like
yeah,
I think you and I like the classic physiques like the Mike Mentors of the world where it's just like the arms just like hit you in the face.
yeah, yeah.
But
But he's like
but like Lamar is super
he's solid
super good when it
around.
comes to structure.
Oh yeah, he's solid all around. You know what I mean? Even in like his back shots and everything, wide back details, thick and everything. It's just the arms just need to be. They're not bad. You know what I mean? His arms are
Yeah.
not bad. It's just that everything else is one level higher than his arms. So his arms just need to come up to the level of everything else.
Yeah, agreed, man. I think, like you said, everything is there. he very well could win this show. I think Lamar. I would be really surprised if Lamar's not in the top three. Like this guy
I
is
I would
very
be
good.
very surprised if he is also not. It's somewhere in that top three.
Yeah, I think Lamar could win this show. I'll be intrigued to see what the judges are going for at this one because really, in my mind, we'll get to this in our predictions. You have lots of different classic looks in this show, which is going to make this very intriguing come the final two or three guys. So
Oh yeah.
Lamar's got to be in that mix. Next up, we got Jorge Tibet out of Spain, who in the past has done pretty well in some of these bigger name classic shows. I know he was third at Hurricane back in 2022.
Mhm.
And this guy structurally is very good. But what I noticed and evident in his placing at Optimum was it looks like he's lost a little bit in the lower half. Like
Yeah.
his legs look considerably downsized from what they were in previous years. And I'm not sure what the reasoning is for that, but structurally Jorge's very good, as you can see from this video right here.
Mhm.
Um, what do you think are some of his strong points, Eric?
Strong points definitely is that his posing is very good. And I think his strongest point is actually his conditioning. He has paper thin skin. You know what I mean? It's like saran wrap. Um, but I think it's also a weakness because I think he conditions himself to the point where it sucks him down. That's probably why his legs start to look like they lose their roundness and their fullness. They're razor sharp. You know what I mean? It's like a knife everywhere. But I personally think he sucks down too hard to where he kind of loses a lot of that size and everything. Um, it looks like he always keeps fullness in the chest. Everything else, though, especially the extremities, they go down a little bit more. He's one of those guys where around like maybe 5 or 6 weeks out, he looks extremely impressive. Maybe I would even argue he looks show ready, you know? But I don't know if it's like a weight cap issue or anything because I think he's also a taller guy.
Yeah, I don't know. I've seen people just grilling him in his comment section. It's been like I almost feel for the guy. Like I think a lot of people are questioning his dedication to the sport, and I don't know kind of what is going on with him and his coach, but a lot of people are referring to I think he may have not worked with his coach for the majority of the year, and some people are like citing that, but like regardless, dude's got great structure and has proven himself on a classic stage. I don't think he's going to do super well here, just being brutally honest. But he's got the tools. It's just a matter of like figuring out what kind of went wrong with this look in this season and improving upon that. Because, like
Yeah,
I said, like dude's done well in big name shows, so he's got the ability. It's just a matter of going back to the drawing board and figuring it out. But that is Jorge Tibet out of Spain. And lastly, we've got Jeremiah Willies, who's based out of California. He's already qualified for the 2024 Olympia by winning the Fit World Pro, which was his very first pro win.
yeah.
He was second at Mid USA last year. And Eric, you've had the pleasure of competing against Jeremiah. So, what stands out the most to you with his physique?
Oh man, he definitely he's like Camilo. He always comes in rock hard. Definitely condition wise. And I believe that he actually went pro as a bodybuilder in North
Mm-hmm.
Americans. But transitioning over to classic and you see the mass monsters today in open, I think classic is a good fit for him. Uh Jeremiah has absolutely no problem with conditioning. The shape is there, definitely. He has that classic shape. Wide wide shoulders, small waist, good sized legs and everything. Um he is overall complete, in my opinion. I think if I were to nitpick anything, small things, I'd like to see a little bit more a little bit more shoulder, um, maybe a little bit more quad sweep, especially with like the back shots and everything.
Mhm.
But, like in his back shots, his adductors or adductors, his adductors are fine, you know, but like he has to position his legs in a way to where like he kind of like forces the quad forward a bit. So I think he needs a little bit more sweep from there. But other than that, you know, he is definitely he is a top two, somewhere in the top two in my opinion.
Yeah, he's got to be. Like this dude, like you said, is complete. Like super impressive muscularity. He's got every single body part that you look for. Like great classic structure,
Yeah, you know, he
conditions there.
muscle maturity and everything. It's all there. It's dense, heavy, thick muscle. It looks strong. It looks hard. It looks like granite. He comes in with paper thin skin. Um, he competes, man. That's an IFBB pro right there.
Yeah, this is a guy
Right?
you can't question the pro card. A lot of people are
Yeah, you
questioning we
can't question
giving out too
pro
many
card.
pro cards. No, this guy earned his. You know that.
But he's also definitely one of those guys where probably in like an off season he looks open, you know. But
Yeah.
when he sucks down to that classic weight cap, because his weight cap is probably so tight, he has to force himself to. You have to be tight, or he ain't gonna make weight, and because of that, that's also a contributing factor to his conditioning and why he always comes in, you know, sharp as a knife.
Yeah. Gotta be in that discussion for a top spot. So that's our full lineup for the Mid USA Pro. Now we'll get into the most interesting part of the show. We've got our picks. So Eric and I are going to make our selections for the top three and then pick our winner for the Mid USA Pro this year. So Eric, as the guest, I'll give you the option if you would like to. It's like the coin toss in football, you know. Would you like to receive or would you like to kick? Do you want to do picks first or would you like me to?
I'll do picks first.
All right, man.
Okay. I want to say in third, I have Camilo, and this is only because like I think I'm pretty sure the second place guy is going to come in just as conditioned and hard as Camilo. It's just that I also think the second place guy has just an overall just better structure. I think, in my opinion, he's genetically blessed better than Camilo, and I think that's going to be the factor here. You know what I mean? Because I know classic is all about like that golden era look, and even though Camilo is as impressive as he is, you know, some of the guys in this lineup just dominate him in structure. You know what I mean?
So we got Camilo Diaz in third place.
Yes. And in second, this one was really hard for me. In second, God, I really had to think about this for like the past 10 minutes because I knew this was coming. I want to say I have Lamar in second, and it's like not even, and it's like not a dominant second either. You know what I mean? Not like an overwhelming second. I think it will be like a 1 point difference. So that's how close I think it's going to be. The thing is that if he comes in as rock hard and solid as I think he can, if he really pushes it, uh, he could be a possible winner. But it's just that the guy in first place I know already is at that point. You know what I mean? Like he's there already. Lamar is, I think, going to be second, and this is because it's just going to come down to a conditioning standpoint. You know, and it's 1 point decision. I think he's going to have the judges fighting amongst each other for that. I don't think it's going to be overwhelming.
So we got a close call here.
Yeah,
So who's your
I
first place
very
winner?
close. I think it's a very close call between him and the first place guy.
Who's your first place guy?
It's going to be Jeremiah, because Jeremiah does have the structure and he has the size also. The conditioning is no question. Jeremiah is like, if you see him in person, like he's big. He's tall, he's big, and he fills out that frame. You know what I mean? So when he sucks down to make that weight, and on top of the conditioning, being fat free and dry, and he always brings that signature texture, that rock hard muscle that the judges love. That's all the check boxes of a champion.
So we got Jeremiah Willie's taking it home
Yeah,
for
but
Eric.
not easily. No.
So I think those are great picks. So much so that those were my exact picks.
Yeah, you know,
And very, very similar reasoning. I think Eric, you and I see things very equivalently in terms of just what we see as these guys' strengths and how they compare. So Camilo, I think the peak is going to get fixed here. I think Camilo will do a lot better here simply because, like, size wise, I think he matches up pretty well against some of these other guys. Although Kirk did beat him last week, so it's not out of the question. I think Kirk could sneak in there and beat Camilo if possible. But I'm gonna go with Camilo because I know he's won this show before.
yeah. Being a former champion of this show is definitely going to get you looked at a bit closer. Most definitely.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Because like now, being a former champion of that show, especially with that panel, they're holding him up to a certain standard, and they want to see if anyone else meets that or exceeds it. You know,
Yeah.
with
So
Mr. Shaw, and I hope these guys, these top three guys, I hope they see this video before stepping on, so that they can prove me wrong, and they can really, mess up my predictions. So, what I'm super excited about is that 1 and 2.
yeah, I
Between
think that's gonna be really close, like you said, dude.
it's going to be, in my opinion, it's going to be a 1 point difference, and it can literally go either way with these two.
And I think so. What I was alluding to earlier is, so I think where Lamar really scores a lot of points is in the condition department, the structure, and then he poses very well. Lamar is very polished. I think where Jeremiah kind of holds his own and has his strengths are the condition,
Oh my god,
the
yeah,
structure. I think structurally, I give a slight edge to Lamar, but like it's not by much. But like I give Jeremiah the muscularity edge. I think that's where he has the most marked advantage over Lamar. Is he's just a bigger guy
yeah.
and takes up more space.
He's very dense. He's very thick with like muscle that's been like it's mature muscle. Jeremiah is an older guy, so I mean
Yeah. So
that it's there. Lamar is like the epitome of structure of what you would expect a classic bodybuilder to look like. But I think in order for him to kind of tip the scales in his favor, he needs to come in more conditioned because everything else is there. He needs to come in more conditioned, if possible, than Jeremiah.
yeah, and the thing with
Oh,
Lamar too is like I don't even know if that's possible because like
I
if
mean,
we could pull up one of these videos, like the dude is already like skinless. Like this is him. This is him with the tan on. I mean, he's already just like peeled out of his mind.
I think him and his coach have some surprises, because Chris Aceto, he does work some magic. But I know that Jeremiah has been with I think their coach team is called Hulk T4 or something like that.
Yeah,
His name is Enrique, and the guy is very knowledgeable. And because he's been working with Jeremiah for so long, he knows how to bring Jeremiah in looking unstoppable. So I think this is more of a battle between the coaches than yeah, because both of them are going to try to weave their dark magic to bring their athlete looking spotless.
The
Yeah,
battle of the brains.
I would have to say, like, between the top two, these two right here, it's going to be literally a 1 point decision between them.
Yeah, it's gonna be a crazy show, and if you guys are watching this, you can watch it on Center Podium. It's gonna be in great quality. The live streams that they do are awesome. Like I've watched their streams for many other shows before. They do a great job. If you guys want to stream this show, you can catch it here, $30, or you can sign up for Center Podium. Sometimes they run promos on like memberships. You can do free trials. I'm not sure if that would work for this stream in particular, but the stream's available. It's going to be an awesome show if you guys want to watch. Um, so those are our picks. And before we get out of here, just want to give another shout out to Eric for taking the time out of his day to
Appreciate
join and talk
it.
some classic. Yeah, always, bro. So you can follow him here. It's Eric_Abelon. Make sure you guys go give him a follow here on Instagram. And before we get out of here, Eric, any shout outs you want to give?
Shout outs. No,
That's a first.
no. All right, man. Hey, thanks for having me, man. I enjoy watching all these competitor reviews. You know, you're doing good service for the classic community. You know, your page is growing, and my followers give his page a follow. Brent is over at I think CPC Bodybuilding, right?
Yes, sir.
CPC Bodybuilding. Look that up on Instagram. It's literal. It's not like it's actual C, the letter C, P, the letter C again, and bodybuilding, no spaces. All right, just type that all in one word, and you will find it. All the information on upcoming competitors for Classic Physique and everything. He stays updated as much as possible, and subscribe to his YouTube channel too. So
I appreciate you, brother. Means a lot, truly.
yeah, man, appreciate you, dude. Thank you for having me. These are always fun to do.
Always, man. Definitely going to have you back on. So that's going to do it for the preview today, guys. I'm Brant. That's Eric. Make sure you guys keep it classic.
All
We'll
right,
catch you later.
yeah.